Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason and I am your watch guy today. Today we are back with Pagani's design. Now it's coming up to the 11/11 sale this year, and obviously we are looking towards those watches that we kind of want to pick up. We're not too sure about yet. It's in the basket, but will it make it, will it not? And what will the discounts be? Well, today I am reviewing the latest piece from Pagani Design. It is their homage to probably the most iconic watch on the market at the moment, the Patek Philippe Nautilus. Now, this one actually comes with a few different aspects that you usually not see from Pagani Design. They're not using a Seiko movement for one. This one's been sent to me for free by the Trendy Men's Watch Store. They are a great supporter of the channel. I am very grateful that they have sent this to me to have a look at, because obviously I want to introduce it to you guys before that sale comes around. With that being said, this will be a full, open and honest review. Before I get into the video today, guys, I do want to give you a little... Before I get into the video today, guys, I do want to plug my website a little bit, so I hope you'll forgive me. If you don't want to hear this, just skip ahead a little bit. If you'd like to pick up any pre-owned watches, review pieces, even accessories, I have a website called thewatchguystore.com. It is linked in the description. It is now up on the screen. Go have a little look, see if there's anything that you fancy. And even if you don't happen to buy anything, thank you very much for the support. It goes an immense way. With that out of the way, let me turn this camera around and let's have a look at Pagani Design's take on the Nautilus. I feel like this watch has been in the making for such a long time. I'm pretty sure I saw renderings of this like a year ago maybe, and it's taken Pagani Design a good while to get it to the market, but I am glad that they finally have, because we don't have enough homages to the Nautilus on the market. Not enough good quality ones anyway, considering it's one of probably the most popular watches on the luxury watch market today. I mean, even people that don't know about watches know about Patek Philippe, and they know about the Nautilus just because of its cult following now, its real presence in pop culture. I mean, the Tiffany blue really did make that explode, didn't it? So yeah, it's about time that Pagani Design got onto this bandwagon, and it's always nice to see them homage a piece that isn't the usual Rolex, you know what I mean? So it's nice to see this. But how does it stand the test? How does it hold up? Is it worth the £88.44 in today's market? Well, I'm going to hopefully answer those questions for you today. I was quite happy to get the white dial from the Trendy Men's Watch Store. I really do like the accents of the black and white, the monochrome type of look to this this watch. First, before we get into the watch, let's talk about the dimensions. This is actually a very, really wearable piece. Now, it is a 40mm watch. That's what Pagani Design have stated. I've measured it here to here, however, and I've got it in a 41. Not that much of a big difference, just because these side protrusions come out quite a bit on this casing. I have it in at 12mm thick. That is including the bezel and case back. Lug to lug, it comes in a very wearable 46.5mm, and I have measured that to the end links here, just because I feel like that gives it more of a real world application of that measurement. And the lugs on this integrated bracelet are 14mm. I do believe that you can pick up alternatives to this integrated bracelet. However, I'd probably just wait until Pagani released one onto the market, which I have no doubt that they will do. The casing is built completely in 316L stainless steel, and it does come with a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. Before we get into that, let's talk about the movement. This one's not actually fitted with an NH movement, a Seiko movement, not even a Citizen movement. It's not a Miyota. It's actually packed with a Seagull ST6 movement, which is not something that we've really seen from Pagani before. At least I haven't noticed from Pagani before. I did really expect this to come packed with an NH movement. So it has been an interesting piece to get to terms with. Now, the ST movement is a basic Seagull movement. Obviously, The downside to that is the longevity of the piece. We don't really know how long these movements will stand up. We don't know the build quality in comparison to the Japanese movements, and certainly not in comparison to the Swiss movements. So it is a little bit of an unknown factor in these pieces. However, for me, it has held up quite well. The one thing that I will note is that it's a little bit rough. You can tell that it is a budget movement. Let me just pop this to the mic. The hand winding is very rough. It also bounces the handset when clipping it back into position, which is difficult when you want to set a precise time. It's a little bit annoying for the type of people like myself who really want to get that really precise fit to the handset, a really precise accuracy to the time. Now, as you can see, the surfaces of this watch have a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces, and honestly, it is really well done in a lot of places. This side surface here really does accent itself very nicely, especially with that polished center, with that bumper to the side there. As we move on to the other side, you can see that is also the same type of feature. We have a high polish around the bezel itself, the side of the bezel, and this little chamfered edge, and then it is a high brushed finish, very thick brushing to the upside of this casing, as well as to the upside of the lugs, and it does follow into the bracelet very nicely. We have a screw down crown to this side here. It does have the Pagani logo. It does have a decent level of grip. However, I would have liked to have seen it as a bigger profile to the crown. As we move to the case back, you can see it's a very simple Pagani design case back. It just has the logo followed by PD-1728 there, the model number, and the usual information around the outer edge. It is a screw down case back, and that does add into the water resistance of this piece. This comes in 100 meters of water resistance, which for this style of watch is perfectly suitable in my opinion. Now, obviously, we do have a fixed bezel on this one, as you would expect. It really does sit very nicely inside the case, and there's some fine details in this casing that I think a lot of people will miss at first, especially like this little indentation to the side of the profile. It's really nice how the bezel sits inside that. We also have drilled lugs for an easier way to change the strap or bracelet on this piece. The crystal is sapphire in this one, or sapphire coated to be more precise. As you can see, there are small levels of anti-reflective coating, and it is a flat sapphire crystal, which finishes off the look of this watch very well. As I say, 100 meters of water resistance to this casing. As we dive into the dial itself, as I mentioned earlier on, the mixture of black and white and the very simple tones to this watch really do a lot for myself. I think that adds a level of elegance, whilst that white dial really does pop and really does leave a very nice look to the watch. It really makes it stand out very much on wrist. The indices on this one are applied, and they are quite tall in stature. They do stand off the dial quite nicely. We have a printed minute track around the outer edge in a dotted style. The darker outer edge to the indices really do add a deep level of tone to this watch. Up at the 12 o'clock, we have an applied Pagani design logo. Now, that is a simple logo and does not follow the Pagani design text, as a lot of people do like, and for myself on this one, it really does work. I think that they've got it completely right on here. Down above the 6 o'clock, we have automatic, followed by UGS. Now, a lot of people are still asking the question, what does UGS stand for? I did ask a good while ago, and apparently it is Upgrade Grand Series, which phonetically doesn't really make much sense. However, it's probably not the worst thing that Pagani design have printed to a dial. I personally would have liked to have gone without that. However, it doesn't take too much away from the dial. The dial itself is a almost metallic white, and it obviously has this really nice indented, almost vent-like design to it. I really do enjoy that design myself, and it really does leave a nice touch to the dial. Obviously not something that we owe to Pagani design, it's something that we owe to, well, Patek Philippe, and obviously it's synonymous to their watches. The handset itself is well sized, as I mean that by it reaches to the edge of the dial in the way that I'd expect it to, and the handset sits very well within that dial. However, I would have liked to have seen the minute hand slightly thicker, and maybe a slightly thicker border at that too. Otherwise, I do think that suits the watch very well, and it does fit within the dial very nicely. Now, this is a lumed piece, so we're going to get the lights out now. I'm going to have a look at the lume shot and see if Pagani Design have done better than the last time round. Well, it actually loomed quite a bit better than the last piece that I reviewed, which was the Nautilus Homage. The dial itself, very well loomed. In fact, I think that this would definitely warrant a 5 or 6. Handset does bring it down a little bit. I think that I'm going to level this at a 5. Now, it's not the world's best lume, but at this price range, I feel like this is acceptable. This is the type of level that Pagani Design really do need to be hitting each time around. Obviously, a thicker handset would have really aided to the lume shot on this one. It would have given them a better level of spread, but that dial is really good. The handset does bring it down slightly. As I say, 5 out of 10 I think is a fair score on this one. Now, as we move away from the head of the watch, we move into this Genta style bracelet. Obviously, again, synonymous with the Nautilus. I really do like that they've gone the whole way on this one and used the right level of polish and brushing between the links. It is a H-link bracelet and has a really, really fantastic amount of taper towards the clasp here. The clasp is very simple. We do have a Pagani Design logo etched on it there. It is a clip out and butterfly clasp. It is milled as you'd expect. I'm not the biggest fan of a butterfly clasp. In fact, I'm not a fan of them at all. But I understand why it's fitted to this piece, and they couldn't really go any other way with it, could they? I really do love how sturdy this watch is and how set towards the design it is. It's just fantastic, isn't it? Just a beautiful watch. I mean, again, we don't know it's a Pagani Design, but it's hard to say that it's not a good looking piece. Okay, let's pop it on wrist. We'll get this wrist shot out. This one is a very comfortable wear, with it being the 40mm that Pagani have stated. It fits very well to my 6 1/4 inch wrist. Even with that butterfly clasp, which usually makes it much harder, it just feels right on wrist. And I really do enjoy that casing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think that the design of the watch, which again, I'll say it, we don't owe to Pagani Design, but I do think that is a real piece of class that's now available at a very, very affordable price. Even with a Chinese movement, I think that they priced it quite well. That's not to say that there aren't any moans and niggles to this piece. As you know, there are always going to be no moans and niggles. First of all, we'll start with the lume. It is better. It is not fantastic. I do think that the handset should have been bolder with a better level of spread to it. You know, if it has more surface area to spread the lume to, then we'll get a better lume shot. The movement itself is a little bit gritty, and I do feel like it will put some people off. I would be interested to know if this casing would fit an NH movement, just for the modders out there, the people that may want to switch in their own movements, their own dials even. I think that would be very interesting. The crown should be bigger. It really does, like, it's hard to get hold of. I haven't exactly got the world's biggest fingers, you know, they're not exactly fat, so I should be able to get hold of it, and it's not the easiest to get hold of. The integrated bracelet will not be one that you'll easily be able to switch out. That is worth noting. However, I do think that the bracelet is fantastic. The clasp I'm not the biggest fan of, just because of how rarely that fold over does bring down the whole feel of the watch. It does really cheapen it for me. I'm pretty sure that this is just my dial, which is unfortunate, but I do need to mention it. The 12 o'clock is very much askew with the indices. They do not sit flush to each other, which is a real shame, because it's honestly the only thing that I noticed straight out of the box that let me down. As well as that, looking at it a bit closer, this does skew off the brushing on the upside of the casing, and I have found that quite a bit on a lot of these Nautilus style cases. I've actually modded a decent few myself. I've built a few myself, as you can see here, and it is very much hit and miss with the casings. This one I got lucky with. Unfortunately, Pagani have not gotten lucky with this one. That being said, I am really glad that we have finally seen a Nautilus Homage from Pagani Design. They are one of the brands that really do lead the homage market at the very budget end of it. And love them or hate them, you do look forward. And love them or hate them, I do really look forward to seeing what they release next. And it's nice to see them step away from the everyday and release something a little bit left field, a little bit more challenging to themselves. I think that this one's going to be popular in the 11/11 sale. With that being said, if you use the link to the Trendy Men's watch store in the description and add this into your basket for the sale and hold it there, then by the time the sale comes around, you can buy it with the discount and I still get the benefit of you using my affiliate link. Do bear that in mind. I am very grateful if you do use that. Thank you to them for sending this to me too, because it is really appreciated that I get to see this type of thing on a regular basis and really get a feel for what Pagani Design are moving towards. So guys, what do we think? Will this one be making it into your 11/11 basket? If it's not, tell me what is, because I'm always really interested to see what you guys are buying too. I love to see which way the market's going, where people are looking, and to see if there's anything that I've missed. I always love to see your suggestions. Thank you again to the Trendy Men's Watch Store for sending this one in to me. I really do appreciate it. Their link is in the description if you want to pick this one up. That is an affiliate link. I do get a kickback and I'm very grateful for that. Again, please check out my online store and pick yourself up a bargain there. It's www.thewatchguystore.com. I update that every week with new pieces, so it's definitely worth checking it out. Thank you for watching this one today, guys. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next one.